seasons and 175 episodes, The Simpsons were running out of stories to tell.
One problem with doing a show as long as we've done is we're fighting the fact that people are familiar with the show, and it's harder and harder to surprise the audience.
There comes a time in all of our lives when we want to go out and change the world, to break free from the system. Eventually, though, life always catches back up to us. Being like Frank Grimes is inherently unsustainable. Sometimes the only option left is to be like Homer. Following the end of the 8th season, showrunners Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein departed to work on the ill-fated Mission Hill. Matt Groening was all but checked out of The Simpsons at this point, focusing much of his attention on developing the concept for his new series, Futurama. Starting with Season 9, The Simpsons began what can only be described as a long, slow march to mediocrity. It's extraordinarily sad to still see The Simpsons producing new episodes today. It's like watching a dominant athlete have all their remarkable abilities stripped away through the march of time until they are no more special than the rest of us. There's a reason why many all-time greats in pop culture also happen to die young. We never get to witness them wither away into a shell of their former glory. The brilliance of those first 8 seasons now only amounts to a measly quarter of the show's entire lifespan. The Simpsons has been on the air so long that YouTube videos complaining about the show's decline have themselves become stale and cliché. What was once the epitome of media counterculture is now owned by the epitome of the media establishment. Following Disney's acquisition of Fox in 2019, The Simpsons featured in a series of uncanny animated bumpers welcoming their new overlords. Considering the prior 2 decades of openly trashing the evil empire, it's hard to believe that this was even the same show anymore. In all honesty, The Simpsons was never designed to survive until the 21st century. The big media conglomerates just keep it around as a ceremonial token to evoke nostalgia for better times. At this point, Homer Simpson has been relegated to a figurehead akin to the likes of Mickey Mouse and the Queen of England. Like many other forms of counterculture, The Simpsons ended up becoming the very thing they sought to destroy.
If I had a TV show, I'd run that sucker into the ground.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
The Simpsons may have fallen hard, but we only see it that way because its original run set the bar so high. Lots of people today have been amazed by The Simpsons' remarkable ability to prophesize modern-day events in past episodes. The truth is that for as wacky of a place Springfield is, it was entirely modeled off our reality.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
America is still America, and certain patterns in history tend to repeat themselves. If anything, The Simpsons predicting the future serves more as a testament to how tuned in the series was to American culture at its peak. The satire of The Simpsons held up a mirror to our world. It shouldn't be much of a surprise when some days we start mimicking the reflection. It's unfortunate to consider how younger generations never had the opportunity to experience The Simpsons at its creative and cultural peak. While the actual show has never been less relevant, the spirit of the show has witnessed a rebirth through the rise of remix culture on the internet. One could say that the fast-paced, irreverent attitude of The Simpsons perfectly foreshadowed interactions on the internet today. Much like a certain young cartoonist from Oregon, a new generation of artists is now using The Simpsons as a springboard to break into the cultural space. The life cycle of the show has now come full circle, going from parody to parodied. So despite its descent into corporate mediocrity, it's at least comforting to realize that The Simpsons is still contributing to culture in a meaningful way. One such contribution was made by British underground street artist Banksy, whose brutally unflattering satirization of The Simpsons was aired as part of a 2010 episode. Banksy once famously reflected on the concept of the second death, when somebody speaks your name for the last time. It suggests that even if we cease to exist in a physical sense, our legacy will continue to influence those who follow us. Frank Grimes may have only lasted a single episode, but what he accomplished in those few minutes of screen time was unforgettable. There comes a time for every long-running TV series when they jump the shark, a moment when the creators realize that they have exhausted all of their creative juices and have nowhere to go but down, so they release an episode so unabashedly preposterous that it fundamentally undermines any immersion in the story, characters, and world moving forward. With Homer's enemy, The Simpsons jumped the shark. but in typical Simpsons fashion, they did so in the most brilliant and subversive way. They welcomed an age of mediocrity with the show's final masterpiece. Homer's Enemy is a monument to a television empire at its absolute peak. It pushes the original artistic vision of the series to its absolute conceptual limit. In just 23 minutes of screen time, The Simpsons created something so intensely profound that we still think about it more than 23 years later. After it aired, The Simpsons was never the same. It didn't just change the show, it changed the way we looked at the show. Homer's Enemy was an episode so high concept that it elevated the series from a source of entertainment to a source of study. It entices the audience to dig deeper and think harder about the show than they ever have before. Oftentimes, the greatest art doesn't give us all the right answers. It makes us ask the right questions. The discussion continues. The great lengths we stray in search of our own interpretation of Homer's Enemy gives us a wider appreciation of the series as a whole. A majority of Simpsons episodes are not spectacular. Many of them are hard to even call entertaining. But we don't remember the series for those episodes. When people think of The Simpsons, they think of an incredible show. They think of a show that redefined comedy and satire. They think of a show that pushed the boundaries of what was possible on television. They think of a show so influential that every other show would eventually copy it in some way. The legacy of The Simpsons has always been defined as a show that stood out from everything else around it. So to answer the question, why are The Simpsons green, we may instead want to ask why The Simpsons are yellow.
So, yellow skin. Why? Because it looks like there's something wrong with your TV set.
Sometimes a small tweak in what we find familiar is all it takes to change our whole perspective. The Simpsons made everyone stop to adjust their TV sets, but the picture within was never broken. Everything else around it was. The Simpsons opened our eyes to the yellowness of the whole world. After a while, we no longer questioned why the Simpsons were yellow. They simply were. It was only then when, for just one moment, the creators had nothing else to do but to make them green. Homer's Enemy is The Simpsons' magnum opus, and there will never ever be another episode like it.
Hey. Shut up. Okay. Wow.
Some things are too important to give up on.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Double kill.
All right, Sneakies. I know you're out there. I gotta see this through.
No way.
An ally has been slain.
Know what I could use? A car.
has been slain.
What do you mean my hammer's too big?
down.
One thing about me, I'm not good at staying down.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Okay, I admit it. I'm lost.
Ally has been slain.
Not dented. Oh, you like to fight? So does my hammer. Look out! I'm in debt! Shielding. Let's take me, my hammer's too big. If you're waiting for me to give up, you might be here a while. We're fighting.
Your turret has been destroyed.
The hammer does most of the work. I just swing it. Got it.
destroyed.
That's okay. I'm playing the long game.